Hi, my name is Umut and welcome to our first episode of Tech Tuesday here at Project DiveBomb. Today we will be diving deeper into the new regulations the FIA have worked on over the past few years coming into effect in this upcoming 2022 season. It's a tired argument we've heard before, many fans complaining about how spaced out the F1 field has become in the past few years. Take the 2021 Dutch Grand Prix as an example. Only 3 cars finished on the lead lap, and in qualifying of the 2021 Bahrain Grand Prix, the rear of the field was nearly 4.5 seconds off the leaders. So, the FIA listened to the fans over this nonsense over the past few years and released new regulations set to come into effect in 2021 to bring in much closer racing. Of course, these were set back a year due to the ongoing pandemic, but what in these new cars actually produce closer racing? Let's dive a little deeper into these new cars. These new regulations were designed to improve racing and decrease the possibilities of boring races with small amount of overtakes, just like the Dutch and Monaco races last season. First, we need to understand why it's become so hard to overtake and follow other cars closely in this past era of Formula 1. The main culprit here is dirty air. Dirty air occurs when one car follows another closely, and unlike the leading car, the second car doesn't have the advantage of using clear, undisturbed air, because it has to run through the area of very turbulent air created by the car in front. This first simulation shows airflow around the wing in clean air, and the second one shows airflow around the wing in dirty air. When looking at airflow simulations, we always have to pay attention to the difference in air pressure, represented by colder and warmer colors above and under the car, or in this case, the wing. The larger the difference, the more downforce the wing or the car creates. Every week, teams are trying to find ways to make their cars faster by creating more downforce and less drag, and in doing so, they add more and more complicated aerodynamic devices that create more turbulence and therefore more dirty air. After all these years of development with the recently changed regulations, the cars became extremely complicated and they create incredible amounts of dirty air. All that dirty air means that a car will experience a significant loss of downforce while following another car, and it also means it will lose a lot of speed in corners. At this point, it's important to remember the difference between dirty air and slipstream. We will often see drivers positioning themselves right in front of their teammates on straights during qualifying, especially to give them a tow or slipstream. Tow or slipstream are terms used to describe what happens when a car punches a hole in air for the car behind it. This gives the car behind a speed boost on straights because now the car behind doesn't have to punch the hole in air by itself, which means it doesn't have to go through so much air resistance, therefore creating less drag. So how did the FIA decrease the amount of dirty air, at least in theory? The easiest way of doing it would be removing most aerodynamic devices and wings. However, this would slow down the cars too much, challenging Formula 1's claims of being the fastest motorsport in the world. So, they had to resort to some clever tricks which would limit the loss of downforce while also decreasing the amount of dirty air created as much as possible. Let's look at the newly introduced wheel covers. Although they're cosmetically questionable, these flat covers will provide a smooth surface for the air to just slip around, unlike the previous rims which created loads of dirty air. Another new addition to the cars are over-wheel winglets. The last time we saw these in Formula 1 was 2009, but what do these do? A wheel creates a high amount of turbulence as it spins, and by putting this winglet above it, the teams limit the volume of turbulence and create controlled vortices which move in a straight line, therefore not turning into dirty air. The next major redesign comes with the tires. This doesn't have anything to do with dirty air, but it relates to tire overheating and loss of grip. Previously, wheels were smaller, but tires were larger. For the 2022 season, Pirelli prepared much larger wheels with even larger rims, which will actually decrease the volume of tires, therefore also decreasing the possibility of overheating and excessively wearing out in hot air while following another car. Next, we have completely redesigned wings both at the front and at the back. At first glance, we can see that they're much more rounded. The front wing especially has been completely redesigned. Over the last few seasons, the front wing would send the air either upwards, outwash, or around the car, outwash. The 2022 wings are going to feature an anti-outwash philosophy, sending the air towards the central axis of the car. That airflow can there be reused in any way the engineers want. The rear wing, on the other hand, uses another brilliant Formula 1 invention: roll tips. Previously, rear wings would send the air upwards, creating downforce, and outwards, creating dirty air. These new wings with roll tips will still be sending the air upwards, but the part of the airflow which would previously go around the outside of the wing is now going to connect with the turbulences coming off the rear wheels and connect with the airflow coming from underneath the car and from the diffuser. This will create a smaller area of dirty air without losing any downforce at all. And finally, the last very important change will be bringing back the ground effect. It was a brilliant invention that was used in the 60s and 70s, which was eventually banned because at the time it was too dangerous, as it would sometimes cause the cars to literally lift off the ground if they touched the grass or the gravel. We will talk more about ground effect and some other incredible inventions of Formula 1 in one of our next videos, so make sure to stick around. My name is Umut, and this has been Tech Tuesday with DiveBomb.